What you're about to watch is a 1 hour segment of me doing a Q&A with 20 business owners, agency owners, solopreneurs, etc. Basically, we sat down, we spoke about AI automation, and I tried my best to give them all the possible tips I could. So buckle up and enjoy. Let's get this Q&A started. If you do have a question, please raise your hand. I don't know how many people are going to be interested in asking stuff. Either raise your hand through the React button at the bottom, which gives you like a button to basically raise your hand, or just drop a message in the chat so that I know you're interested in asking something. So the floor is yours, guys. Use it as much as you want.
So my question is on the N8N. Can that be deployed, and I haven't tested or tried it yet, but can that be deployed to basically hand off to like a client?
Yes. So basically you think you create like an N8N project and you're looking to do it for client work, right? Is that what you're kind of asking?
Yeah.
You can do it in two ways, and I'm gonna kind of guide you through both if you'd like. So
Sure.
the first way is, and I'm gonna just share my screen to kind of show you. The first way is, and it's super, super simple and straightforward. Let's imagine we're creating something here that's a blog posting agent. So it's going to have a chat trigger. It's going to go into an AI agent, which let's say we're going to put Claude into it, right? I'm just giving some examples to build it out. Let's imagine it has a memory buffer, whatever. And the endpoint is, let me just admit some people. The endpoint is you want it to post on WordPress, just as an example, right? So right now, none of these nodes are connected. So if you want to give it to a client, you can do it two ways. One of the ways is you can export this. Basically, you can export this by saving and then downloading. It'll line up if I save it. Downloading this JSON, and you can give it to them, like right here with this download button. You can give it as a JSON, and they import it. But it's never going to have connected nodes. And I find that we do some client work with AI automation. I find that this is the most difficult part for them. So what do? I actually ask them to create a sub account with their N8N and just give me rights. And in there, I actually create a project, because projects can be shared with any and all users within the account space. And this way they have access, but I connect most of the nodes. You will encounter some problems when it comes to nodes that are for social media. So keep in mind that, for example, if it's X or if it's Facebook, they can be quite tiresome. Like if you've connected them on your own, you know the problems you can run into. When it comes to nodes like LinkedIn, super easy to connect. You know, Gmail, they have like O2 authentication, whatever it's called. So those are usually very, very simple to do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No worries, Greg. Before I get to you, Adriano, I saw that Pete dropped a question in the chat, so I'm just going to go to him real quick. Pete, how can I help you? And welcome everyone new that's joining. Welcome.
Yeah, hi. Thank you very much for the welcome.
My pleasure.
Yeah, first time here. Not really sure what to expect, so thank you for making me feel so welcome.
Of course.
Just a quick question. I'm embarking on a side hustle, publishing books on Amazon, and I just had a couple of questions really. First of all, can anyone recommend a good AI that will produce images that I can use in my books, which allow me to have the same persistent characters throughout? I mean, there's a lot of hype around the GPT thing at the moment, isn't there? But I've tried that on the free version. I don't mind subscribing, but it seems dreadfully slow. Is there anything else that's better out there?
That is a good, yeah. Sorry, Pete, did you want to like carry on with that question, or?
No, I think that's a good one to start with. Then I had a follow on about actually writing. I've installed lots of LLMs locally, and some of them are better than others. So basically, one for writing would be good.
Yeah, absolutely. Dave already gave some input from his perspective. Like, first and foremost, you're right with GPT. It does feel a little bit slow right now, although the images that it creates are really, really interesting and good. I played around, and it really kind of depends on the prompt you give it. I think this is where prompt iteration comes into play. For example, if you do something like I don't know what kind of a book specifically you're thinking of, but let's imagine it's cartoony style, right? For you to be able to replicate it, GPT is going to be really, really good with that. You're going to have your standard like mid-journey answers. You're going to have your standard, like Leonardo AI answers as well. But it kind of depends on specific use cases. I've not written a book myself, so my advice would be kind of test a few of these. I can see Greg also dropped something in there in the chat as well for you. My suggestion would be test a couple of these and see which ones would fit perfectly within your book niche. And one thing for you to keep in mind also with GPT, even if you have a paid version, you're still limited to a number of image created within an hour. So you might also run out of requests. So keep that in mind, right? If you keep on, let's say, doing 5-10 images, it's going to not let you do the next set until certain time has passed. With Leonardo, it's credit-based, et cetera. Stable diffusion is also a good one. So yeah.
Yeah, I think it's the persistence that's the issue. I've got lots of AIs and they all seem to make actually very nice pictures, but once it's made one nice one, then you can't have the same character doing something else, which if you're writing a book, is quite important.
That's
Dzine does a really nice job
absolutely.
of that.
I was going to show that, Greg. Very good suggestion.
Okay.
Yeah, look at that. Consistent character, right? Exactly what you were kind of referencing there, Pete.
That's Dzine, is it?
dzine.ai. It's in the chat as well, so you can copy it.
Thanks, Greg. Appreciate that. And then
the second part?
Yeah, follow on, and I won't hog the call.
No, it's all good.
Already today, I've busted my limit on 3.7 Sonnet on Claude. And so I normally like to run language models locally under LM Studio, but I can't find anything which I can run locally that writes anything like as well as Claude 3.7.
Yeah.
So just if anybody's got any suggestions, which I don't need to go and buy 50 grand's worth of server to run. That would be useful. I just got a home PC with a reasonably good graphics card and stuff. But these things take a while, don't they?
You know what? Like we with Julian, we actually do a lot of content writing testing because we still primarily are an SEO agency. So for us, content writing is a very crucial part of SEO. And we've tested, I think anything you can think of, we've tested for content writing. So whether it's the newest thing, like, I don't know, DeepSeek 3.1, or whether it's Manus, or whether it's some of the OGs, like, like you were saying, Claude, etc. Claude is still, for whatever specific reason, the best from our point of view when it comes to writing. You are going to hit that limit when you're writing books, I think, maybe more often than other people. That is what we have found works best. I can sit down with Julian and ask him what he would prefer as a second best choice. Lately, we've been using a lot of Gemini 2.5, to be very honest with you. We've been playing around with it to see, especially because of the free model that you kind of can play around with, right, and test as much as possible. But to give you a concrete answer, Claude, I would say it would be worth it to wait until the timeout is done, or you get some more credit that you can reuse rather than using anything else.
I actually get 2 accounts so that I can that's 2 limits. But thank you very much for your time. It's much appreciated. I'm interested in learning about the SEO stuff as well. I work for a company which is going to need some SEO consultancy. So
that's cool.
I'm all ears. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. We can touch base on that for sure after the call. I saw MS that you dropped a note, but first I'm going to go to Adriano because he raised his hand. So Adriano, please go for it.
Hi. First call for me. Very interesting. I'm already have lot of notes and ideas. So I have 2 set of questions.
Okay.
3 questions. Okay. One is around an N8 SEO workflow, so connecting to what we were saying at the beginning with Greg. And the other one is about images. On the SEO, what I'm doing now is I'm doing trying manually then to automate. No, so in terms of content creation, for my website and for my articles, the best tool I found is GPT with the custom GPT from Julian. This is for me by far the best. I tried Neuron Writer, auto blocking, other apps, and there are really nothing compared to it. So it's a very simple solution. But the problem here is how to automate, because I try to kind of starting from the result and the prompt and asking GPT, can you help me creating instructions that can build that result, and I'm not able to do nothing that is similar to this. So that's the first question. How can I have a similar result of this custom GPT, but as a prompt that I can then, or as set of files that I can then input to an A10 and have it producing a similar result?
That is a really good one. That is a really good one. So actually in N8N, there are a few ways that you can input prompts, but there is a little bit of a difference from a custom GPT, and I'll try to explain why. With a custom GPT, you're training exactly one chat model to do exactly what you need it to do, right? So that is why it's usually very, very good if you can figure out a way how to train it up. And I'll even give you guys a tangible example. A few weeks ago, we had a client come to us and he requested that we build him a custom GPT specifically for guest researching. They have a sort of a show and they want the guest researched, right? And truth be told, there are better AIs out there that are going to do better web search compared to ChatGPT. But what ChatGPT does really well is when you do this custom GPT, it knows exactly the output you're looking for, right? So what you're saying is, how can I translate that into N8N? How can I make N8N, with my custom GPT? Right now, the best thing you can do is there are two things in N8N you can do. One, you can actually feed it custom prompts within the AI model that you're trying to use. So you can kind of give it instructions on what you want it to create, and I'll show you an example of this shortly. And two, you can also have a memory buffer. Now, the memory buffer is a little bit different. It usually, the way it works is it remembers the last 5 messages or the last 5 prompts, but there are more complex memory buffers that you can plug in as well. And now when I say you can give it like specific information, I'm going to show you what I mean. I'm going to share, and this is something that's pre-done, but I'm just going to share with you guys so you kind of have an idea. And 1 second, let me share my screen. So for example, this is for blog writing. Can you see my screen? I think you can. Yeah. So this is for blog writing right here. And right now, none of the nodes are connected because it's just a template, right? But if I go into this specific generate model, which I've already plugged in my credentials for, just so that I can show you, if you can see, there is already a predetermined prompt that is existing to make sure that we are very standardized with the things it creates, right? And it's quite a long prompt, if you can see. So it's not something small, but it's actually quite long. So this, in a way, lets us build, in a way, a custom GPT within N8N, right? So you're going to give them prompts depending on what step you're expecting them to do, right? So like, do not use quotes. I'll put only string containing title, for example, depending on what each of them is supposed to do for you, right? And if I go here, like, for example, generate a photo, et cetera, et cetera. So it's kind of, you can feed it information on the things you want it to do within N8N. It's never going to be as complex as, to be very transparent, as a custom GPT, because in a custom GPT, you can do a lot more. But here, what you can do is you can basically teach it on the things you want it to do. So as you can see, like, you can feed it meta tag requirements. Please do this, address pain points, key differentiators, optimize output, this type of format. So you can see it's pretty big messages. It's as if this is a custom GPT, but it's just done in a different manner, if that makes sense, Adriano.
Yeah. So basically, there are two parts of the question are, one, what is the best way to kind of reverse engineer from the output that I get from the custom GPT to create a prompt that I can then enter in an N8N. Oh, you said basically I can use this space for prompting, but for me it's more about what is the right prompt to get to a similar result. That's the question.
Yeah, so this is actually a funny one. You can actually ask AI to create a perfect prompt for you. And you know why I'm like, this is actually very brilliant, because what AI does is it pumps it out in the exact specific kind of manner you would need to give it for it to understand it best. So it does very brief bullet points. You might need to iterate it on your own to kind of understand what are the things it's lacking. So for example, we always say no M dashes. ChatGPT is super stuck on M dashes. Those are the long dashes. And sometimes you need to repeat it a few times throughout for it to learn to not use M dashes, right? So there are things that you're going to need to do manually, but you can go to ChatGPT. You can explain the type of prompt that you're trying to create and ask it to give you the best possible prompt for you to feed it so that it works according to those standards. I know it's funny, but it's like talking to yourself, but that's how the best prompt.
Yeah. And I tried that, and but still I'm not able to get to the result I want. But I will go on and do more of that.
Yeah. The biggest thing, Adriano, is, and this is something that I've been maybe saying a little bit too much recently, it's iteration prompting. What do I mean by that? You need to keep refining the prompt that you're trying to figure out that's going to work best for you. And you might need to do this 100 times. But once you land on that prompt is going to be your bread and butter. So, you know, right now, maybe you're just missing a few finesse touch points in that prompt to make it work perfectly, but just keep at it. And I'm sure you're going to figure it out.
Good. And then the other one is that you have partially answered is if I do videos, so I'm using one of the prompts that the one for short videos. I'm using it to create short videos for Instagram and YouTube. Okay. And for the scripts, it's really brilliant.
Yeah.
Really brilliant.
Yeah.
And the thing is, if there is, what is the best way to create good video covers using like it's my wife that is doing the video, so probably we need to combine some photos of her with something else. So if you have in mind a good approach to achieve this.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. To be honest with you, like the script is really good and you can actually even input images in there that you want. I'm guessing you're talking about like using your own images to create the short. Recently, I tried out a tool called Visla. Visla was pretty good at kind of creating AI videos for me when I would give it a specific like image and kind of what it wanted to happen throughout the video, right? With it also has speech as well. So maybe a couple of like tools like that. But Adriano, to be honest with you, I don't know any off the top of my dome that are going to help you.
Okay.
What you can do is drop me a DM on this. I'll do a little bit of research so that I'm sure that I'm giving you, you know, the best possible answer.
Okay.
We use the script a lot. I'm going to be very honest with you. A lot of, and we use, for example, I don't specifically know the names, but like stick figures in there, or we're going to use like white and black, like whiteboard kind of sketches and whatever. And they work pretty well when it comes to shorts and reels. But for your specific use case, just drop me a message and I'll try to figure out some good ones.
Okay. Great.
Absolutely. And Arnett, you know what? Like the tool I just mentioned was this, Visla. What Adriano mentioned is the script, something that we use a hell of a lot, which is, I might have just given you the direct one to log in, but it's fine. You're going to figure it out. So yeah, those are basically the tools that are really good for. And awesome thing, by the way, guys, the script has a ChatGPT custom GPT that you can specifically use to give it a prompt, and it creates it through ChatGPT. So if you want, I can also find you that GPT as we're talking.
Nice. This would be super interesting also.
Yeah, I'll hook you up with that one, guys. Okay, I found it. I'm just going to link it right away. Here. So I would suggest if you're interested in kind of doing something through ChatGPT, it also can do your prompt and everything within this custom GPT by the script. Make sure to take a look at it. All right, Adriano, anything else on your side?
No, that's it. Thank you.
Awesome. MS, I'm going to get you in a sec. I saw that you dropped in the chat that you had a question. Mike, I do not know if there's a character limit. I haven't hit it, but I'm guessing the more you input in it, it's going to start suffering from confusion or it's going to start hallucinating, to be very transparent with you in terms of like the character limit within the N8N AI agents. So I cannot give you a specific answer because I've never hit like a character limit. Okay, MS, I saw that you wanted to ask a question.
Hi, apologies. Sorry, my name is Manny. Thanks, Vic.
Manny, all good.
I'll change that on the actual Zoom kind of name. I didn't realize, so
it's all good.
I'm a new person on the group and very kind of humbled and excited because obviously you guys have got a hell of a lot of stuff on there.
Yeah.
The question I've got is this, because I've just started, I've been going through the classroom kind of tutorials. The business which I have is I supply products to a B2B format in the industrial sector. What I want to do is build like I don't know, an agent or multiple agents within N8N where you've got a database where you've got PDFs of data sheets, specifications, and everything like that, where it could get that information. The product kind of descriptions with pricings and everything to kind of automate a stream workflow that if somebody needs a quotation, it can pull off and give that, or if somebody needs certain information on like, you know, the specifications, it could pull also those things off and then kind of go back and forth and complete kind of tasks within where it could be just managed by a click of a button. But I don't know what kind of classroom kind of webinar I would need, or what kind of tools would be appropriate with N8N to kind of function to create a local language model within, feed it, because it's quite a lot of data to give, which is not, I mean, I would say a lot of PDFs to feed.
I get what you're saying. Okay. So to be honest with you, it kind of sounds like the first thing that I would do, Manny, and yeah, thank you for the kind words first and foremost. The first thing that I would do actually is kind of break it down a little. I think a lot of people nowadays kind of suffer from the idea of too grand automations, but you need to break it down in steps to make it actually doable and achievable. And what I mean by this is what you're saying is definitely doable, but the road there is let's first start by automating, you know, for the AI to be able to read or access these PDFs. How do we do that? We can, for example, host them on Google Drive or Airtable, right? So it's just where they're going to exist. The next step would be, how would this interaction work? Would every person need to go into N8N, or are you looking to develop something that is like a chatbot? Or is this going to be handled by a VA and everyone comes to the VA and they say, give me the numbers from all the PDFs on XYZ? Do you get what I'm trying to say? Like, it's a little bit more complex because what you're looking for is kind of to substitute a whole person. And it's not that it's not doable, it's just about doing it the perfect way. So there is a simple way that you can start tinkering with this. And I'm going to share my screen real quick to kind of show you, not necessarily that we have a class for this, but it is something that I can work on for, you know, the team and kind of help you. It's a super simple setup. And why I'm putting something as simple as this is because I want to keep you guys focused on start with simple things. Do not go overboard and start creating things that are impossible to track. Like, let's go with, I guess, this. Like, you don't need stuff like this. You don't right now. What you need is, hey, I have a chat message. In the chat message, I tell them, find me all the data on Manny, as an example. Right now, it's not going to work, of course, because nothing is connected. But you connect it as a tool to go to Google Drive, and you can find, you know, find the tools or read from the tools or custom API call, et cetera, et cetera. You know, it depends on what you want it to do specifically with the drive. Instead of Google Drive, if they're hosted on Airtable, I'm pretty sure, yeah, Airtable tool, here you go. You can basically, from the record, you know, get a certain, like, retrieve a record from a table, information, whatever it is you may be looking. This needs a little bit more conversation, right? And let's imagine that the output is, once you finish with everything, just send me an email. Send me an email with the information I'm looking for. So I don't need to sit and wait, right? But instead, hey, I've dropped a message. I need the data on Manny. It's going to look for it, and basically it's going to send it to me by using AI to type for me. You know, so this is what I'm saying, Manny. Think of the simple things you can do, and then you can start expanding on it. You can start adding more tools. You can start making it as complex as you want.
So, do you know, with that AI agent principle, with the Google Drive, because sometimes, you know, like with data sheets, it's in a PDF format. How can it read, let's say, like, you know, specifications and stuff like that clearly? How do I kind of convert so it can understand and not miss any information, because obviously if you misinform, let's say the end user with certain specifications because of a glitch, it can come back and bite you in the bum.
It can, yeah.
With that. So how do you kind of get the agent to be able to kind of get or read it in the right way? Because there's quite a lot of data sheets and stuff like that to feed into.
Yeah, I agree with you. The thing is, if you're asking me to say, oh, I guarantee it can do it, absolutely not. We do have a lesson in the classroom that basically teaches you about Mistral OCR, which is something that accesses PDF files that can read PDFs and images. Am I going to sit here and tell you it's going to do it perfect every time? No. Because if I took a screenshot of this URL and asked any AI, hey, type out this URL for me, the chances of it doing a mistake is actually pretty high. The zero might be an O, the dash might be a line, so I cannot promise you that it's going to work, but this is what it would like. A workflow like this for you to test would look like something like this, but you can create it on your own as well by just basically going out there and reading a little bit about Mistral OCR.
Okay. That's perfectly fine. I've got quite a lot to go through anyway, so you'll probably see me on the other calls as well, asking questions.
Awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you.
No worries, Manny. Don't worry about it. Before I jumped into some of the messages that you guys dropped, really quickly, last week, Dave, I think you were here, Dave Lee, and I know last week you asked, how come there's so few people? Guys, last week we only had 4 people. The week before that, we had 30. So I guess it's just kind of like a seasonal thing. But thank you everyone for showing up today. I'll do my best, like you can see, to answer any and all of your questions. If something doesn't get answered, or you don't have a chance to ask, or you're maybe a little bit shy, feel free for any future Q&As to drop questions in my DMs, or just email me. I can drop my email as well, because I would love to be able to help all of you. And I do want to apologize that sometimes it might take me a day or two to get back to your DMs. We do have nearly 700 people in the group, so sometimes it takes me a minute to get there. And also, I am expecting Julian to start coming again next week. This week, as I said, he is out due to a personal reason. All right, let's take a look at chat. JPCE, no worry about that. As I always say, personal life. So your daughter is way up high in priority, so don't worry about your camera. Michael, let's see what you said. Your company needs an automated system that can search and cross-reference information for sales research. How can I create a system like that that provides an output in the form of either a LinkedIn URL or another means to contact people? Okay. Automated system that can search and cross-reference. That is interesting. So what is it searching and cross-referencing? Are you uploading like multiple PDFs? Are you uploading are you giving it multiple sheets? What is it like cross-referencing, and what is the automation there? Are you just asking, find me all of the examples of X or Y, or what are you trying to achieve there, Michael?
Sorry, I'll just jump on.
No, please feel free.
So basically, what I want to get to the point of is have an automated system whereby it will search specific industries or specific things that over the internet, which can essentially align with some of the requirements for the types of things that we sell. So just to clarify what we're doing, what we're looking at here, it's sales to high net worth and ultra high net worth individuals. And if that's the case, then obviously we need to find those people and find a means to contact them. So the logic would be, okay, what disparate pieces of industry information can be combined together to try and figure out, based on signals, whether this person or whether an individual is a potential buyer or not. And it really comes down to this point, as I said, around like net worth. So if they haven't got a certain amount of net worth, the product isn't going to be valuable for them.
Okay, so I do have a couple of questions for you, Michael. Right now, I'm assuming you're using tools similar to Apollo or maybe Sales Nav, and then you're cross-referencing with maybe something like Crunchbase to figure out net worths. Yeah, I assumed you were doing something similar. Are you using any automation within that regard, or like what are you doing to kind of tackle this?
Not really. Not really, no. Like I'm not in the research side of things. Like there's automation on the outbound side of things in terms of like LinkedIn automation, but not really anything else.
Okay. Have you ever, so the thing is, I'm not gonna tell you that I have off the top of my dome a N8N workflow that can help with this, but I do have suggestions. Have you tried tools such as, and I've mentioned this tool previously because I do love it. Have you tried tools such as Phantom Buster, for example?
Yes, I have. Yeah.
Okay,
how would you use Phantom Buster in this instance?
That is a good question. So, for example, let's say you are creating these lists or you're saving these people within your sales nav, right? Because if you are saying ultra high network, I'm going to assume there isn't thousands of people that you need to come through. You kind of have like, let's say a list of 10 to 100 people, right?
Yeah.
Once you have that, you can use something like Phantom Buster to extract all of their data from sales nav. So what does it, and this is where the automation kind of kicks in. So instead of you manually going person by person and extracting, do they have an email? Do they have a number, et cetera, right? You would just use something like that. And this is where you can use a secondary tool. Like I was saying, maybe you're going to use Apollo. Maybe you're going to use Hunter.io. I don't specifically know what you're using, to verify emails, et cetera, et cetera. But basically, the automation there would be just relieving you of the manual work of scraping all of the data that you're looking for these people. I know you said the outbound is already automated, right? And now I'm assuming also trying to automate the search intent itself, right? Is that, yeah. Interesting one. Like we have done things around search, but it's always been very straightforward. For example, with Phantom Buster that I mentioned, it can also go according to hashtags and extract anyone that is talking about the hashtag. And that way, I mean, this is not specifically viable for your use case, but I'm trying to say these are kind of the things that we've used in the past for high net worth individuals.
I can very quickly give you an example of where my ideal system. So everything you're saying is really useful. I think the way that I see everything that you've just said is like that's the kind of middle layer. And what I'm looking for is the kind of top of the funnel layer. But I'm not looking for the top of the funnel necessarily just as like individual names. But if I can find a way to teach an AI system to identify signals that would make it clear that someone is a high net worth or ultra high net worth individual. So what I mean by that would be, let's say for instance, I had something that had some type of a connection into or was tracking in some way Instagram posts, and there was a specific set of Instagram posts and things that were liked, which a much more analytical system than my own brain would be able to identify individuals and profiles that like or follow these specific things are increasingly more likely to also be high net worth individuals. So it kind of like it makes the prediction and says actually high net worth individuals look like this, and then it gives me an understanding of what I can then re-prompt it with in order to look for those types of signals in an individual.
I understand. I completely, I get that part. I need to have a think about it to see if what way would I do that. I am kind of coming up with ideas of maybe there's a group where they exist and you want to kind of scrape the data of the group. But as you said, that is maybe now coming on to a little bit more, not the top of the funnel, neither the bottom of the funnel, but the middle instead. Kind of helps you get things from A to C. I need to have a think. I'll if it's okay with you, Michael, can you drop me a DM on School in the AI Profit Boardroom? Just drop me a DM. And I'll do my best to figure out something for you because it's an interesting use case. Like I haven't really ever thought of the initial part of it. It's also going to need to qualify them, whether they are one of the individuals you're looking for or not, right?
Yeah, or within a certain degree of certainty, right? Even if it's 80%, as long as it's 80%, 20% is okay,
Okay. Drop me a DM and I'll see if there's something I can do for you.
No problem. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. No worries. All right, guys. Do we have any other questions or anything you're struggling with? Anything interesting that you've seen lately? Anything you're experimenting with? Sure, Greg. Drop. Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Go for it, JPC. Go for it.
Sorry. Mine's a simple thing. A lot of my data points are on Google Drive or on Gmail. And what I'm trying to figure out is the best way to analyze it. So let me give you an example.
Yeah,
I've got a whole email inbox, and it's got certain bits of data on it. And I want to filter out data that may have a subject heading or a subject heading and a context in the first line, and just automate just a PDF that document. Now, I have been able to do that with Google Strips to an extent, but there may be an easier way to do that. And because I use the Google Workspace as my underlying, as my underlying storage for everything, I want to know how I can manipulate into any aspect of what I store within that workspace, whether it be Google Drive, whether it be email, whether it be anything else, to really train into something or ask questions on that data set. And is that done 2.5 Gemini now that it's super smart, or is that done in another way?
Yeah, I actually love that one. So first and foremost, thank you very much for that, JPC, and I hope your daughter's doing well and she's well fed.
She's watching Paw Patrol, so all good.
My kid loves Paw Patrol. I cannot get him off it, so don't worry. I know all about Chase and Marshall. Anyways, to get on to your question, we have actually built something similar to what you're saying. Now, I don't know whether, and when I say built, I mean like used and kind of, had some fun with it, let's say. Now, when you started and you said AI email analyzer, I thought, perfect. I have the awesome, the best answer here for JPC. But as you kind of went more into it, I'm not as sure anymore, but I'm still going to show you. It's a workflow that basically uses an email as a trigger. So basically, when you get an email, it uses it as a trigger. And what it does is it creates sort of like this. If it has an attachment, it gets the PDF or it gets the images, and then it kind of understands what it needs to do. Uploads the attachments to your Google Drive. For example, if they need to be extracted, extracts from PDF and takes it within. And funny thing, you said Gemini 2.5. In this work module, we have Gemini 2.0, but that's easily changeable. And for example, it extracts all of the information from the PDF and saves it as a summary in an Excel sheet, depending on like the use case, right? It can also spit it out in different types of and I'm going to show you so that you maybe have a better understanding of what I'm saying. But maybe a workflow like this would actually help you in terms of like you kind of understanding, hey, can I build this and what are the things that I can achieve with it, right? So basically, if it doesn't contain any attachments, it just converts text, summarizes it, and basically saves the summary of the email. But if it does contain any type of like images or PDFs or whatever, it just basically adds another layer. And it all ends with you getting like a final summary of what has been done. And in here, you can kind of like see that the JSON is already spat out, and you get it in a Telegram message to kind of inform you of what has happened. Now, this might not be the perfect use case, but it does sound like something that could help you analyze those emails, right?
This is in N8N rather than doing it within the Google environment, because one of the things that listening to Julian in the last thing, I mean, he's really excited, about 2.5, and I've done some stuff in it, and it is, I'm a Claude lover.
Absolutely same.
But I've seen that context window in Gemini is nuts. Because I've put so much stuff in there, and I'm still only at 600 tokens on a very big thing that I put through. The difficulty I've had at 600 tokens, for some reason, 600,000 tokens, for some reason, I'm not getting it to move very much further, because I'm getting almost like a spinning wheel, and you shouldn't do that for something that is live and online, if that makes sense. So running, I mean, I could share my screen with you and you'll see it. It's literally just, I'm at, let me have a look. Yeah, it's kind of lost itself a little bit, which is very worrying. Lucky if I copied and pasted the whole of what I had done so far, saved it into a PDF, and then put it into ChatGPT, because it will then ChatGPT 01 would then see the whole evolution of what I've been doing. Because I was really concerned that suddenly if I'm stuck here and I'm stuck here at 600,000 tokens and it's not getting to the million, and the fine tuning that I wanted to get done isn't going to get done, I'm not going to have to say, oh shit, I can still put everything into, as I said, another model and do that. So I know I digressed a little bit. And the other thing that I also did spot here is now that they've gone live with 2.5.
Yeah.
And I'm using AI Studio at the moment. So for which that's great because I don't have a cost and I don't have anything else like that. But there was one comment that I think Julian made that it's not got a necessary history. And I didn't want to have a problem. Maybe you could explain that out to other people on the call, because I do recommend, using 2.5, but some of the drawbacks there would be interesting. But on your N8N thing, what I'm trying to do is, one of the things you said in the call is keep things simple. So I'll give you an example. There's two examples, and I'd love any feedback.
Yeah.
Especially, I think Michael might know this or whatever. So what there's two examples. In Google Drive, in Google, I've got an inbox with whatever, 600 emails. I know that I really need to have I just need to pull out certain emails, and I want to automate pulling out those emails. That's what I'm saying, simple. And then I'm saying, well, if you reach the criteria of these emails because the heading has a specific element that is the trigger, then I need you to aggregate that into one PDF. So all the ones that meet the criteria, I just need a PDF, because it's that PDF that I can put into another LLM.
Yeah.
And that's the key thing, is what I was saying before. It's as simple as that. It's like creating an order. I know any email that came in from this person but had this in the title, that's what I need as a data input into a specialized LLM or whatever else like that. And of course, LLMs love PDFs.
Yes.
That's one. Secondly, on a Google Drive, I have a whole series of photos that have metadata as well. We know, and I've figured this out, that 2.5 experimental understands writing pretty well as well.
Yeah.
I put some pretty hefty documents in there, which are written stuff, people's notes, stuff like that. And I asked it, have you had any difficulty understanding even a page of this? And it hadn't. It said, no, I've got it all.
Yeah.
Which was quite interesting, because other models just didn't do that. And I think that that's just some feedback. So it is then a matter of saying, okay, in this Google Drive folder, there are 800 pictures. I want to extract out all the pictures that reach this criteria, say have this face, or if not the face, if you can't do it to that level, have this metadata, e.g. is taken at this mapping point or this mapping area. Yeah, because they're all taken on an iPhone, and with that, you're able to extract them all out, and then also put them either in the PDF or in the grid. Because what you need that is to use that, say, for evidence, or to use that as an example. And those are two really big pain points that I need to try and execute on quickly. They shouldn't be too difficult, because I see people doing far more crazy stuff with this. But how do you have to identify it, or can you just, as I said, is it a Google script, or is it, because ideally you can go into Claude and say, write a Google script that does this, and then you just put it into Google script, and you're all within the same environment, rather than having N8N, MCP, talking to Google and stuff like that. So really, I'm trying to see what your mind thinks, because you brought up the subject of keeping it simple, would go about these two situations.
Yeah. Okay. I love it. I love everything you said. And I'm going to get to the memory part that you mentioned early on, or the history, however you phrased it. When it comes to the emails, I think that, and if we're trying to stay away from N8N and we're looking at Gemini 2.5, the biggest thing for us to remember right now is that it's still experimental. So even if you were to nail it today, I cannot promise you that it's going to work tomorrow, because I don't know what specifically they might launch, right? And this is why it's still free and the tokens don't cost anything, right? And you already face the problem of the token limitation, right? You're hitting 600K instead of 1 million, right? So when it comes to the emails, what I would say is, and I'm assuming you're doing all of this because you sound very knowledgeable, is just...
No, the point being is I did try it with a script, but it wasn't, as you said, it's like getting the prompt right. It was picking up stuff that it didn't need to, and so you got to manually eyeball it. But I'm trying to get within a 95% confidence, because then I can say statistically this is clean PDF data. Because what I don't want to do is have an 800-page PDF and then have a couple of them in there that's spurious, and then chucks out something that's not related to what I want it for, and put that into another LLM, and then I've got, I'm decreasing my confidence level because I've got to sanitize that PDF. So that's why I'm coming with that, and that's why I wanted a fresh eye on that, because the process isn't difficult, but just being able to be flexible and manipulate this and really say, okay, redefine it, which is from this email address on these dates, or not on these dates, from this email address with this in the heading, and maybe in the text having this. So maybe 3 things that have to be right, and therefore gives me the confidence that email is one that I actually include in a PDF output.
I get you. I hear you. To be honest with you, because of the uncertainty around, what is going to happen specifically with Gemini 2.5, it's kind of hard for me to give you a direct answer. I can try to find a better prompt, maybe, or a script that would work for you, but I've not used that use case, right? But I think you're hitting the nail on the head there by saying it might just need a little bit of work with the script to figure out the perfect one, to make sure that it's inputting and outputting exactly what I needed to do. Because if it's making a mistake, there might be even a single dot within the script that's confusing it. So it's impossible for me to tell you this way, but what I can tell you is it sounds like an interesting use case that I myself have over 1,000 emails. So I can just try, find all of the emails that are mentioning a complaint or something similar of the sort, right? And see how it does there. And
then you can say, then you say, not all the, because obviously the way Gmail is structured, you can say, obviously the top thing, it's all sent or all received. And that's one thing,
inbox or whatever.
The other difficulty that I'm trying to get around is that, you may have sent something that's got the right criteria and somebody's then replied, but it's not the replies that I need back. I just need the clean initial email.
Yeah. I'm sorry that I cannot give you the answer on the call itself. What I can tell you is I've played around with Gemini 2.5. One of the things that I saw was, for me, when it comes to the tokens, was under the advanced settings in the output section. For some reason, they kept getting limited to 100 or 60, 70,000 for me per response.
Yeah, 6536. Yeah, output length.
So I actually reduced that, and then it was able to go above the. I mean, I've got it to a maximum of 800K tokens. So I don't know if that has anything to do with it. I honestly wouldn't be able to tell you.
So you're saying output length, decrease it or increase it?
I'm saying you can't go above the. I think 65K is the max that you can do it at, unless it's changed. But I decreased it.
I'm looking at it now.
Yeah. Sorry.
So what I think what you're saying here is that it's not the token issue; it's the maximum number of tokens in responses. 65,534.
Might not be the case, but that is what I tried to tinker around with, and I got like a little bit of a bigger response at the end.
So if I say I can't even delete it. I can. if I say 20,000,
you can play around with it, and honestly, you can drop me a message, let me know this is helping, this isn't, and we can talk about how we can play around with it together.
Okay, so that's good. I will play around with that. I mean, lucky I've got the whole audit trail, and I'll suck it into before you lose it. I'll suck it into, at least I can continue for the icing on the cake.
Absolutely, that's smart.
In GPT, well, because we also had a problem in Claude whereby you reach the context window limit, and then suddenly you can't do so. So I wrote whenever I thought I was near there, it was giving me that little warning saying this is getting long. I wrote a script, a prompt that. And I used a very good prompting called Sam, which then enabled to take a full audit of everything in that chat as far as it could, and then start a new thing. And it pretty much did then replicate as if I was continuing without any of that data point in there. So it literally scraped the whole of the chat, really got a meaning and understanding of where we are. I mean, obviously there are comments that we're going to get a 500,000 token window from Claude, but a real problem that we had with Claude 2.7 or whichever one we were using was that context window limit. You're suddenly there and you're thinking, oh, I'm stuck. And then obviously the search element, which they've only just released,
Yeah,
which was because we needed that, because suddenly you've been using Claude for forever. It's your go-to place, but you've got no way of doing it.
Yeah. JPC, thank you so much. Because we don't have much time, if it's okay, I'm also gonna.
Sorry, I'll jump up.
No, it's all good. Thank you for that.
I'll DM you, but if you can come back with any of that, that would be great. If that all makes sense.
Please also drop me a DM. Like that way, I know that we're staying on top of things. But for sure, I'm gonna come back to you. I'm gonna play around with the Gmail part of it to see if there's anything I can.
The pictures in the Gmail would be great. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
No worries, JPC. Before I jump to you, Adriano, your hand is up. I just wanted to say on what JPC said. One of the biggest drawbacks that the community right now is talking about when it comes to Gemini 2.5, when he mentioned history, is the fact that it forgets everything or nearly everything as soon as the chat ends, and you need to re-explain context. But I think people are finding ways around it, and I don't know what to say. Like, we are trying to understand, we are trying to see when the latest launch is going to be and what's going to happen next. But thank you so much for that, JPC. Absolutely brilliant. Very good input there. Adriano, go for it. We have about 5 minutes left, so let's see if I can help you.
Another idea back to the previous question.
Sure.
That was how to let's say make a prompt in an A10 say with a quality that is similar to custom GPT. What I was thinking is if you have experience or advices around fine-tuning an OpenAI model, which is pretty easy because it's enough to have prompts and outputs in a JSON. So actually what I could do is I could go in the custom GPT and do question, answer, copy 50 questions and 50 answers, put in a JSON, format in a JSON, upload, fine-tune a model in OpenAI, and then use this model in A10. What do you think?
What do I think? So the use case for you there would be to teach the model to answer the questions, or what is like the use case for you there?
The use case in here is SEO, so a content creation workflow.
Okay.
Should write the content with certain standards, and I like such the way the custom GPT understands what I want and the way it outputs the content. So what I'm doing in the custom GPT, I'm providing a brand brief of my store, and then I'm asking, providing, of course, topic, keyword, LSI, whatever. And the result is that it very cleverly understands the tone and the structure of the content is very good, much better than anything else. So what I want is to transfer this into automate, so into a workflow, and to do this, I cannot use, of course, the custom GPT. No?
I get you. Honestly, what I would tell you for this is, if you're looking to use PDFs or like multiple sources of memory in N8 and on the AI agent, you can plug in memory that is hosted elsewhere. So I'm just looking at it right now. For example, natively, they have Motorhead, Redis, Xada, Zep. So there are places that you can host, your information, plus the context that you're going to put into the LLM itself, the AI, and the AI agent. This way, you are going to ensure that you're getting the output you want. Like, it's not going to be the same as a custom GPT, but eventually it might even become better for you. The more you're used to it, the automation is on a higher level. This is the thing that I'm trying to kind of capture for you, because when it comes to a custom GPT, you might get what you want from one input, but you still need to then take that input, make sure that it's structured, for example, HTML or whatever structure you're outputting in. Make sure that you take it, for example, to WordPress. Make sure that you align everything, and make sure that, for example, you upload the images, you put the metadata, you put whilst in N8N, let's say it might take a little bit more tinkering, but you're going to get everything done with one type of a sentence. Or, for example, if it's taking the data from an Excel sheet with one row of information. So this is the advantages, and there are going to be a little bit of like pros and cons with everything, right? So it is about you going into N8N and kind of playing around with how can I give it the best prompt within the memory buffer that I have to make sure that I'm getting the output that I want. And this way, you're going to save yourself a lot more. Like basically, it's going to be a lot more time saved where you can place it elsewhere. The alternative, to be honest with you, Adriano, is keep the custom GPT. But what you can do is you can create an N8N automation that basically, once the custom GPT script or blog or whatever is done for you, you plug it in the N8N and it does all the rest steps. So it takes it, it formats it, it posts it, it uploads the images, and it sends you like a Telegram message, for example, hey, it's done.
Yeah. Also, because I need also to translate the content in various languages. So, and now what I see is that GPT in general, and not a custom GPT, but a GPT with a good prompt is better than any translation application that is available on our.
Okay.
So, and it's a lot of work to translate this in 4 languages and edit, and I think it's an AI can do this in a much better way. Do you have a suggestion on what is the best platform? I mean, let's say between Gemini, Claude, ChatGPT, OpenAI, what is the best for translation? Do you have any?
To be honest with you, for translation, we've mostly used ChatGPT for translation because it's the mostly wide used. It's the mostly wide used model out there, so it has the most learning options. How do I say? But in N8N, you can even plug in Google Translate if you'd like. So or on that regard, you can kind of use whether you want Google's automatic translate, which is honestly maybe the most used tool, or you can just use ChatGPT.
Okay, great.
Okay, we are out of time. I saw 2 things, so quickly I'm going to cover those, guys. But thank you so much for joining today. Organico, I can list out the services that you can use memory for. Let me just open it up for you here, and I'll tell you. So you have Motorhead, Redis chat memory, Zada, Zep, and the simple memory that exists from N8N. And JPC, if it's okay, I'm going to drop you a message on your last message as well so that I can give you input. But yeah, guys, awesome Q&A. Thank you so much for joining. The Q&A recording will be uploaded to the classroom so that you can review it. You can ask stuff about it, whatever. I'm also going to update you with some new class lessons that we've dropped. Have an amazing time. Awesome, Phil. Thank you so much, everyone. JPC, please drop me a message because I don't know your school tag. And yeah, I'll see you next week, guys. All the best. Thank you.